So has AFC Richmond finally turned the corner? Will their total football strategy pay off? Let's find out. But you know what? This is more about emotion than it is about soccer. Let's talk about Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 8. It's David Stark from Watcher Pass. It's Wednesday. It's the new Ted Lasso day. This is Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 8. We'll Never Have Paris. It's coming to Apple TV Plus on May 3rd, 2023. It's the episode that directly follows AFC Richmond's, I guess, maybe dramatic, maybe uplifting loss last week against, I think it was Arsenal, but whatever it was, they lost 3-1. But they got a beautiful goal at the end and showed that total football could maybe work with this team if they kind of adjusted to it. Well, you would think that this episode would be more focused on the soccer, and it does start off focused on the soccer, but then it goes into more of an emotional episode where you have some character growth, you have some conflict, and you have some key characters kind of take a major role. So my hot take is, look, I think you should rent it. It's a fine episode. It's not a great episode, but it progresses some of the storylines. It has some funny moments and a decent amount of kind of heart/emotional development. So overall, I think it's an okay episode. It's not as good as last week's, but it at least kind of progresses the storyline. So I'm going to tell you a little more about the episode, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then go into a recap. There will be spoilers throughout because a lot of things I liked and didn't like. I kind of have to go into what happened in the story. So there will be spoilers. Just know that beforehand. If you haven't seen the episode, go ahead and watch Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 8. It's up on Apple TV Plus now, and then come back and watch if you want to hear my thoughts. Otherwise, if you don't care, or you just want to kind of hear what happens in this episode, then let's keep going. So in Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 8, there's kind of three main storylines that are progressing at the same time. The episode starts off with Richmond in wonderful form. They win 4 games straight, and it seems like everything is going their way. So you're like, okay, great, this is going to be a soccer episode. Well, no, it's not. There are 3 main storylines that kind of progress after that initial kind of introduction to show that Richmond is doing better. The first, you have Ted Lasso's son, Henry, in town with his mother, Ted's ex-wife, and her new boyfriend, Dr. Jacob, or as he likes to be called, Jake. They're all in town for the weekend, and you think it's going to be a fun, maybe like awkward family moment, but Ted's ex-wife and her boyfriend zip off to Paris for the weekend. So, yay, Ted gets more kid time, but he's wondering why they went to Paris. What could they be doing in Paris? He's kind of hung up on that. That is the first kind of main arc. The second main arc, and kind of the more interesting one, is that there is a large data leak of private celebrity information. It is a leak of private photos, private videos. There's a lot of celebrity nudity. And one of the people that is caught up in this is Keeley. One of her private videos was leaked online, and that causes a whole storm of emotions for her and people trying to fix the situation. It leads to a lot of kind of emotion and growth from her and those around her, including the team, including her girlfriend Jack, and including some unexpected places. And the last storyline kind of focuses on Nate and shows some of the like positives and negatives that are happening in Nate's life right now, including his new kind of relationship with Jade and where that is going to go. So those are the 3 main storylines. It is nice because it is only a few, and they do seem to progress pretty well. So the episode doesn't feel as kind of jumbled as some of the past episodes have. But that being said, things I liked about this episode. The first, I like the emotional growth. There is some nice growth from some of the characters. There's a little bit of a regression. I'll go into the things I didn't love as much. But overall, I feel like a lot of the characters are growing and kind of growing to their own. You got some nice moments from Jamie. You got some nice moments from Keeley. You have some nice moments from Nate. And you do have some nice kind of, and you do have like a nice kind of perspective moment for Ted. So overall, you do get some really good emotional growth. You do get some kind of like character development that I really enjoyed. The second thing I liked, and this is going to be a spoiler, I liked Keeley's strong character because her private information was leaked in this episode. Her private video that she made for someone was leaked. But she is such a strong character in this episode. I really loved kind of like how she approached this and how she kind of refused to apologize for making the video, refused to apologize for sending the video. She kind of kept the focus and the blame on the person that leaked it, the person that kind of hacked the account and released the information, rather than on her making the video. And that is exactly what it should be. Like, she was making a private video for her significant other that is perfectly fine, and like she shouldn't apologize for making the video. She shouldn't even apologize for saying the video. She did nothing wrong. And so I love how her character was so adamant about that. There was a lot of pressure on her from various sources to, try to downplay it or stay out of the public eye. And she's having none of it. And I really liked how Keeley kind of took a stand in this case. And the last thing I liked Nate's happiness. Like, I don't, we're not supposed to like Nate, but this episode does kind of humanize him a little bit. It shows kind of the things that he is trying to do to emulate what he had at Richmond. And also it shows him kind of growing as a person and becoming maybe a little more assertive. He still has his Nate moments where he wants to say something and then goes back and doesn't. But I think this might be a turning point for his character. So that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first, there was a pretty, I don't know, I say poor breakup. I didn't love how this breakup developed. The breakup, spoilers, is between Jack and Keeley. Because when this video was leaked, Jack says that she'll help handle it. They try to get the video taken down, but they're not able to do it. So Jack wants Keeley to issue an apology, saying that she's sorry for making the video, she's sorry for things like that, which is the wrong approach, and also something that Keeley is adamantly against. I love that Keeley was against this. Like, she didn't kind of take the easy PR route. She just wanted to, she held firm in her belief. She held firm in, like, that she did nothing wrong, because she didn't. She held firm in her belief. She held firm that she did nothing wrong, and kind of refused to do, like, Jack's apology. And eventually this kind of comes to a head towards the end, where Jack says essentially, like, I don't think it's a good look for your financial backer to be dating someone that has a porno out. And that kind of, like, rubs Keeley the wrong way. She didn't release this. She didn't intend for anyone else to see this. And so she feels that is, like, unfair, and she is not going to do the apology. She's not going to take it down. She's not going to apologize for doing this. And that causes Jack to say, like, are there any more videos out there? Because I think she's, I don't know, paranoid about this. And Keeley says she doesn't know. Like, she doesn't remember everything she's done and sent. And that causes Jack to, like, leave and essentially say, like, she's not sure she's going to come back. And so that was, I guess, their breakup moment. I guess maybe in the next episode they could make up. And it's possible, given that, Jack and Keeley have had some, like, emotional roller coasters. Maybe they will. But it just felt like a very kind of hollow way to break up. It felt like a weird way for Jack to kind of, I don't know, approach this, because she seems to be a little more understanding, although I guess she's worried about her business. And it also felt like it happened a little bit too quickly. It was just like, bam, all of a sudden they're broken up. So I didn't love it as much. It felt a little bit too kind of manufactured. So that was the first thing I didn't like. The second thing I didn't like is, I'll call it, like, reopening old wounds. The episode kind of ends with this, like, hint that perhaps Ted and his ex-wife could get back together. I don't know if they're just, like, giving false hope, or if they're just trying to, like, string you along, or maybe they will. I just don't love that. Like, I feel like Ted and his ex-wife were both in good places. Ted, was getting some growth by, like, telling her things he was upset about that she did, like that she was dating someone without telling him, things like that. And maybe that was partly to show how much he cared about her. And this episode does have a lot of moments where it shows, like, he knows her very well and he cares about her. But to have this episode end with the idea that maybe they'll get back together, after a lot of this season was about Ted kind of coming to terms with their divorce and coming to terms with, like, they might be separated, and trying to find his own kind of path in this series, it felt like a regression to say, like, maybe they'll get back together, maybe they'll kind of go back to being an item. It feels like Ted should be kind of moving forward and kind of getting used to this whole new mindset, and it still feels like he is not adjusting. So I didn't love that part, and I didn't love that they're kind of, like, maybe stringing us along in there. So the last thing I didn't love is it's not very funny, and there's not that much soccer. Like, it is an emotional episode. It is more about kind of, like, character growth. And there's some funny moments, but there's not as much as I was expecting. And the soccer is all very abbreviated. You have a little montage at the start talking about AFC Richmond's climb. And then Ted and Henry and Beard actually go to a West Ham game, because Henry wants to go watch soccer. And the only game that day, maybe it's a Sunday, they usually have, like, one game on Sunday, is West Ham. And so they end up going there. But you don't really even see any of the soccer there. You just kind of see them in the stands, and they wave at Nate, and he notices them. But that's it. And so I guess this episode is more about emotion than it is about humor or soccer. So that is Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 8. There's a few things that happened in the episode that I haven't already touched on. One thing I did like, I didn't mention this in the emotional growth, but Beard has some nice moments also. Beard has always been kind of supportive of Ted, and he has a really nice moment with Ted's son, trying to like prop him up and make him feel, okay with this new situation. It is a really sweet scene. Ted is off talking to Rebecca because he's trying to figure out if his ex-wife got engaged over the weekend, and she was helping him to kind of hire a private eye and figure this out. We don't know. It doesn't seem like they did, although Rebecca seems to imply. So I'm not sure if maybe he asked Ted's ex-wife and she said no, or what happened. But while Ted is doing this, Beard has a nice talk with Henry and kind of reinforces how much his parents love him. And even though they're living in separate countries, that they still both love him and want like the best for him. So that was a really sweet moment. I also liked that when Ted was reading a book to Henry, that it was a Marcus Rashford book, because I love Marcus Rashford. He is a fantastic player and a fantastic human being. So I love that that book kind of made its way into this episode. That kind of made me smile when I saw that. You also, like I said, you get some emotional growth from Jamie. And he had a really nice scene at the end when, or after Jack and Keeley break up. Keeley is in her house. She's upset. And Jamie swings by, just kind of on a whim, checks and sees how she's doing, and then he apologizes. And Keely's like, no, you don't have to apologize. And Jamie says that he wants to, because what Jamie's policy is that he always deletes pictures and videos from ex-girlfriends after they break up. And so he did that for Keeley. It took a little bit, but he did eventually do it for Keeley, but he forgot to delete like his emails. He deleted the stuff off his phone. He didn't delete his like sent emails, and he had a really, really weak password. So that kind of caused, it seems like that was probably the root of where this hack happened. And so he like apologized. He said he should have deleted it. He should have thought about it. And even though Keeley doesn't blame him, even though Keeley kind of doesn't think that he did anything wrong, I think she appreciated this, and gives him a hug. It's kind of a sweet moment, and it shows like Jamie is kind of taking responsibility for things and kind of owning up, which I really like. I like Jamie's growth this season. It seems like Jamie's really kind of stepping into his own as a main character and kind of the main force in AFC Richmond. So that was a nice like moment also. Oh, and there was one more revelation that happened that will probably have some implications later on, although I imagine they'll probably handle it well. After the whole leak happened, AFC Richmond, the players are all talking, and this is where Jamie brings up that he deletes everything off of his phone after he breaks up, or I think he basically deletes everything off his phone just for this type of situation so he can't get hacked. And that causes the captain of the team to like stand up and tell everyone like, delete your stuff, everyone delete your stuff. So the players start deleting their pictures and like videos and things like that. A little extreme, but you know what? Hey, they don't want anything bad to happen. But after everyone kind of does this and leaves, Colin is still there with his phone, and the captain comes up to him and is like, hey, I wasn't kidding, like delete your stuff. And Colin's like, I will, like just, I'll do it later. And he's like, no, I wasn't kidding. And he grabs the phone and looks, and I imagine there is probably pictures of Colin with his boyfriend or Colin with other men. And so the captain just kind of looks at it and then hands the phone back and like looks at him. And Colin looks up at him, and then he just walks away. So nothing is said, nothing overt happens during this. And I imagine it's Ted Lasso, so they'll probably try to handle it well. But it seems like now Colin's secret that only him and Trent knew is now out in the open, or at least out there to more people, and we will see what happens. That is going to be something for later episodes. So that's pretty much everything that happened in Ted Lasso season 3, episode 8. So like I said, it's an okay episode. It had some good moments. It felt like it did progress in the storyline, but there was nothing really kind of that stood out a lot about it. So check it out on Apple TV Plus on May 3rd, 2023. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.